my phone would not let me go landscape. Very odd. I don't like going live in this way. But anyhow, I just want to jump on here and say hello to everybody and remind everybody, don't forget, we've got a brand new premiere tonight, Family Haunting. So 8 o'clock, make sure you guys check that out. 8 o'clock, brand new Family Haunting starting. I am gonna go get some workout in, but looks like it's gonna storm, so hopefully the storm passes through fairly quick. Yeah, I just wrapped up another episode this morning as far as editing, and then Sean and I will be on the road tomorrow working with another family. Rocky is on vacation up in Niagara Falls, so if anybody's up near Niagara Falls, I think Rocky's still in Niagara Falls, you can swing up there and say hi to him. And like I said, Sean and I will be on the road tomorrow. Got a little bit of a storm coming through here in Ohio. I'm hoping this storm will pass through fairly quick so I can get at least 3 or 4 miles in, but we'll see. We've been getting the remnants of all the hurricane that went through. I think that went through the Gulf Coast. Then it kind of moved its way up. But the good thing is we've needed rain here. Everything's so dry. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's like a torrential downpour right now. See if I can, I don't know where the thing is on this. Oops. Okay, they're on button. Oh, you can't really see anything. Just take my word for it, it's raining pretty good right now. Yeah, tonight's episode, like I said, we went up to, we went over to the Ohio, West Virginia border. Worked with a young family. They just bought this older house, fell in love with it, and then they started to realize that there wasn't something quite right with the house. So they had all these experiences. They called the local church. The church came in, did like an hour-long house blessing and stuff. Said that there was multiple entities inside the house, and whatever it was super powerful. As they started to meet a lot of the neighbors and stuff, come to find out that house has a history of being known for being haunted. So people that's lived there in the past have had experience as well, because it used to be a rental property before they bought it. And then so things kind of calmed down a little bit after the church left, and then things picked back up again. So they had contacted us to come in and investigate and do a cleansing on the house. So you can watch tonight to see how that all ended. Pretty good episode. It's probably one of the more active residential cases we've done in a while, as far as like just good solid paranormal activity taking place. So I think you guys will really enjoy the episode. I'm trying to think what else we have going on. But I wish I could get this to flip the landscape, but for whatever reason it wouldn't let me. Yeah, I'm trying to kill some time before I I don't really feel like running and stuff in the rain. But then next Friday night, we've got another brand new family haunting episode coming out. That night was absolutely crazy as hell. So, like I said, July, August is shaping up to be really good. Yeah, there were some things as you're watching tonight's episode. It'll seem like maybe a little bit that you're like missing some information, but unfortunately we had some stuff scheduled for further interviews as far as some of the darker history of the house. Unfortunately that just didn't take place. So the house is known around town to have some very dark things that happen there. We kind of left it out because without doing further interviews and stuff like that, everything was just hearsay. So we decided not to put it in the episode. But just remember that as you're watching tonight's episode, that there were some very dark and disturbing things that took place inside this house. And what was neat is several of the neighbors that live on this street also have activity at their house. So it's just always fascinating to me that you'll have specific areas like a street or a block or whatever of multiple houses that all have activity. And of course, right, that would lead more towards like maybe something with the land or whatever. I know the episode Sean and I are going to go work on tomorrow with this family. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's a return episode. We've worked with this family in the past. I don't want to say too much about it. So it's another one of those that's got like just a dark story to it. But really, what haunting case doesn't have a lot of dark, disturbing things involved with it? Everybody having a good week. Friday is finally upon us. As you know, we were off. We didn't go investigate at all last weekend, with it being the holiday weekend. So we're excited to get back out on the road this weekend. We've been using a bunch of new equipment. I think you guys will really enjoy it. The new equipment you won't see until I believe next Friday. Was one of the first episodes we've had with this equipment. It's really what we're trying to do is run multiple pieces of equipment at the same time, audible equipment. And if we can get multiple pieces of equipment documenting the same evidence, getting the same responses at the exact same time, I think that'll go further to help validate that what we're experiencing is paranormal. As you guys know, sometimes you'll have one piece of equipment that like randomly goes off. You know, could it be paranormal, could it not be paranormal? You just never know. But if you could have multiple pieces of equipment going off at the exact same time and giving you the exact same information, that leads more towards it being something supernatural. So a lot of new equipment coming to the scene, which I think you guys will really enjoy. I know, just because like when I edit stuff, I try to put myself in the mindset of you guys as a viewer. You know, what would I like to see? So that's really how we've been trying to do things, is with adding new pieces of equipment to the mix. The new Epic box is absolutely amazing with the voice. So like before, you guys were always just seeing a light, yes or no, and we would say yes or no, or you'd watch it on the screen. But now with the new Epic box, you can actually hear it saying yes or no responses. Plus it lights up as well. And what I've noticed in the last couple episodes, which you guys will see, when we're running multiple pieces of equipment, it's literally like these spirits are talking over the equipment and answering each other and having like a conversation. It's honestly one of the most bizarre things. I don't know why we didn't think about doing this like 20 years ago, but it's pretty neat. I know the case that I just finished editing, I think we shot that up in Muncie, Indiana, and I was in the kitchen running equipment, and I was in the house by myself because it was a smaller location, and I'd had a few pieces of equipment going, also running EVP, and at one point it literally sounded like these two spirits were just talking back and forth. Like, spirit talker, she would say something over that, and then the Epic box would answer yes or no to her questions. So I'm just sitting back, listening to these two spirits communicate back and forth to each other, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. So when stuff like that happens, it's exciting as an investigator, stuff that you can't explain. So yeah, August, I would say this entire month and August for sure, some of our best family cases we've done in a while. One of them's kind of short. Although we got really good evidence, it wasn't like a huge amount of activity took place. So, and that's really the key with the editing, right? Is to, you try to make the episode flow between the questioning and the evidence and the interviews and all that stuff. So it just has a nice smooth flow to it. That way the viewers, enjoy watching it. So you don't have a whole lot of dead time, no pun intended. But it was one of those cases when it was active, you were getting very compelling evidence. And then when it was quiet, it was like super quiet. So yeah, I would definitely say. And then we went up to northern Ohio, northeast of Cleveland. We got to, there was a team that reached out to us. They were working on a family haunting. They don't typically work on the darker side of family haunting cases. They typically focus on like historical hauntings and haunted buildings and stuff like that. So they went up there and did some really great work. I've watched their episode with the family. This team does really amazing work, and they just called us in to basically see what we could document and see if we could, help the family out. So that's coming up. I think that'll be in August when that episode comes out. So, and we get that quite a bit as far as like other teams will contact us and say, hey, we've got this case we can't quite figure out, or we've got this case that might be demonic. Can you guys come take it in? Or come take a look at it, investigate it, and see if you can figure out what's going on. Just because I think people know that we tend to take on the darker side of the paranormal, there probably isn't much that we wouldn't investigate. But it's just, I love working with, because there's so many teams out there across the country that, you don't see on a regular basis. When you guys think of paranormal teams, you probably think of 5 to 10 teams that you see on YouTube constantly, but we're fortunate enough that we get to talk with and meet a lot of great teams all over the country that don't have that exposure. So anytime that we can help them out with whatever they need, that's always something that we've always loved doing. Because I can remember when we first started, we reached out to teams that were more established and well-known, and learned how to investigate the equipment and stuff like that. So it's kind of now, we've been doing it for 20 years, like the roles are reversed, and now we're helping out these other teams. And so I think you guys will really enjoy that.
key thing to a good workout is having Kool-Aid. Just so you guys know. I do have my comments coming through this way. I typically like to have my phone turned the other way, but for whatever reason, when I went to, there's just a button you click, like advanced settings, and you can go in there, you can pick portrait or landscape, but for whatever reason, that option wasn't in there this time. I don't know if YouTube's trying to push the portrait live versus landscape. Kool-Aid is cool, Josh. Yes, it is. Sean is probably at home. We're getting things ready to, actually I've been getting stuff charged for tomorrow when we go investigate, and then I've gotten to delete a lot of old footage off the cameras. Nothing worse than being halfway through shooting an interview and the camera says everything's full. So we'll get everything packed up and ready, and then Sean will pick me up tomorrow. And then we'll head off. Like I said, Rocky's in Niagara Falls. I think he's going to be gone for a couple weeks. I don't know where all they're going. Maybe we'll try to go live with Rocky. I think Rob and his wife is with Rocky right now. I don't know if you guys remember Rob, cousin Rob from England. So it'd be kind of cool to get him out on another investigation. That's what I loved, is he was like a huge skeptic when he first came over here this last time, when he was on a couple of our episodes, and we took him to a family haunting, and by the time we got done with that case, he was like a true believer and just was instantly addicted to investigating the paranormal and stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure Rob is with them. I'm almost positive. I'll try to go live. Maybe Sean and I can go live with Rocky and them tomorrow. I'm assuming they're still in Niagara, but if you guys, anybody's close to Niagara Falls, you can go up there and see. Did you guys do the Garrett house? Is that right, Garrett? Or Garnett house? I don't believe we've been to that house. We've literally been so busy trying to work with family hauntings that we have had no time to get out and do any like haunted locations like asylums, hospitals, nursing homes, anything like that. It's just been one family case after another. And we've got, like I said, we've still got to schedule our trip down to North and South Carolina, get those cases done. But oh, and there's another place that we may be going to soon that was one of my favorite investigations ever, where we caught some of the most compelling paranormal evidence we've ever documented on video. And we may be going there in a couple weeks. It's a family haunting, but it's the same location. So fingers crossed that works out. It's just one location I've definitely wanted to get back to. It's a very scary location. It's a very dangerous area. I feel like the last multiple cases we've done lately has all been dangerous areas. You'll see next Friday, all hell breaks loose during the investigation. I literally thought we were going to die. That's not like clickbait or anything like that. Like Rocky, who never gets scared, or, you know, he's always so calm and reserved and laid back. He thought he was going to die, and he was ready to leave. So that's coming next Friday. I've always said sometimes being out in public is scarier than being inside of a house that's haunted. That episode's coming out next Friday. It's raining here at my house. It is raining here. We needed rain here in Ohio, though. Everything was drying out. And if you guys are just now joining the chat here, I want to remind everybody that we got a brand new episode dropping tonight, 8 o'clock. Brand new family haunting. Really amazing haunting. Like I said, we worked with a young family. They just bought this older house. You know, they're getting into this house. They're starting their life. I mean, you guys know how it's all, you know, we've all been there before where we buy our first house and you're all excited and you're ready to start your life in this house and create memories. And next thing you know, it's haunted and got all this dark history tied to it. So definitely watch tonight. Great family. Had an amazing time working with them. Just an overall solid case. Sean gets affected the most during this investigation. Something very traumatic happens to Sean. So if you want to find out what that is, make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock tonight. I felt bad for Sean, but unfortunately, we run into a lot of negative, bad situations, and you really have to learn to stay focused. And you know, your main job is to help the family get answers, help them figure out what's going on. Is their house haunted? Is it not haunted? Why is it haunted? And then ultimately bring closure to them. So I think part of the video maybe seems like Rocky and I weren't focused enough on Sean and what he was going through, but you also have to understand that we tried to just stay focused on helping the family. So it may not seem that we were super worried about Sean, but we were worried about Sean. You know, you hate to see anybody in a situation like that. So it's tough sometimes, but definitely check out tonight's episode. With most family hauntings, there's lots of ups and downs and twists and turns, and you could have everything planned out beforehand, and then it just never fails that things change, and you just adapt and go with the flow, and you know, do the best that you can do. Got Colorado in here. This is orange Kool-Aid. Good thing about this Kool-Aid, it's got 0 sugar and only 5 calories. So it's not like the old Kool-Aid that our parents used to make for us that was loaded in sugar. And got Donald from Kentucky. Lots of people from Kentucky up in here. Ohio. And I believe I've got to shoot some emails out later. I think we're going to start filming Chasing Evil sometime next week. So hopefully that'll take place. I think what we're going to have to do because of our schedule, because the minute we start doing something different and not focusing on family cases, then the family cases get backed up like 2 or 3 months wait. And so I think what we're going to have to do is start filming Chasing Evil during the week and then family cases on the weekend. And typically why we do family cases on the weekend is obviously because of most of the families, you know, they work throughout the week as well. So the weekend just works best for everybody. So I think if we could take, you know, a couple days during the week and go shoot interviews and searches and stuff for Chasing Evil, we'll definitely do that. Yes, YouTube is a full-time job. You know, we've had jobs our entire lives. I believe I went 26 years was my record before I ever missed a day of work being sick. I think that was my record. It was 26, 27 years, which I never set off like to have that goal, like work all these years and never get sick or whatever. And I mean, I worked a lot when I was sick, but not missing work. I think at one point I thought my boss had said something to me, said, you know, you've been here 12 years and you've never missed a day. And then it kind of clicked with me, well, how long could I go without missing work? And I think I made it 27 years. I can't remember if it was that or it was 19. It might have been 19 years. It's one of those two. So it was just a small little goal I set to see how long I could make it. But yeah, YouTube is definitely... But anyhow, we've worked, like I said, you know, normal jobs, 9 to 5 and all that stuff our entire life. But with the filming, like for YouTube and Amazon and stuff like that, it's literally 14, 15, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Sometimes we're up 28, 30 hours. So definitely a lot of, which I enjoy it. Even though we work a whole lot more, you're working at something you're passionate about and something you love doing. So even though you're working more hours and you have a lot more stress and stuff like that, you're still doing something that you love to do. So at times it doesn't always seem like work, if that makes sense. But they say if you find a job that you love and you're passionate about, you'll never work another day in your life. Plus, this work is just more meaningful, I think, because you're actually making a difference in people's lives. And that doesn't necessarily like always mean getting rid of their haunting and stuff like that, but just sometimes it's important just to that people know that there's people out there that care enough to meet with them and listen to them and hear their story. I think sometimes we get caught up in bringing resolution to whatever's going on and we lose focus of the whole picture, if that makes sense. But yeah, we've definitely taken on some very, very, very dark cases here lately. Which, like I've said before, that happens. We'll get into some very intense cases. And then you'll have 2 or 3 cases that are kind of, you know, your run-of-the-mill normal haunting cases where there's nothing too crazy going on. And the crazier the world gets, the crazier hauntings get. That's one thing I've definitely noticed. It's like the yin and the yang's off, like the whole balance of the universe is off and everything gets affected. So yeah, we had one case that Rocky was scared to death, and then we had another case that Sean was scared to death, and I know the one thing that we've learned, which you'll see next Friday's episode, is like before, we kind of always just threw caution to the wind and never really worried about what happened to us. I mean, obviously we cared about what happened to us, but we would be in dangerous situations and we would just go with it and just hope by the grace of God that we were able to stay safe. But I think now we're kind of more like, okay, this is like beyond our control. This is super dangerous. There's a chance we may not be leaving here. And I need to run into the gas station. Let's just say we make smarter decisions now than what we probably did in the past. I don't know if the rain's gone or not. Okay, I'm gonna run into the gas station real quick, and I'll be right back out. I'm gonna leave this on. Just give me 1 second. Okay, that gas station's got a massive line inside there, so we're gonna go find another gas station. Ain't got time to wait no line. Typically when there's a long line, it's like when Powerball and stuff's way up there. So I wonder, maybe the Powerball or Mega Millions is way up there. I quit playing Powerball and Mega Millions because one, I don't think I've ever even gotten like one freaking number right. So it was just a waste of money, and I always felt bad about myself because I never got one number right. So never come to me for Powerball numbers, Mega Million numbers. People always ask us, why don't you ask the spirits what the Powerball number is? Well, if the Powerball number hasn't been picked yet, how would the spirits know what the hell the number is going to be? That's why we don't ask for, plus we don't want to ruin a good karma. You never want to use the paranormal, or like if you're a psychic or medium, you never want to use that ability for nefarious reasons. Come on. Would you love when you let people back out and they take 6 hours to back out? Yeah, we're definitely like always guarded against that. Then they turn left. Take 6 hours to back out, and then you have to turn left here. That's what happens. But I don't know what I was talking about. This driver distracted me. Yeah, because we'll all the time have families try giving us like gas money or money for food or something like that, and we're like, nope. We've been doing this 20 years and never took a dime from anybody. We want to have good karma. And you know, we had one family years ago that told us that they had to pay a group. I think they were upstate on the East Coast, $2,500 to come down and investigate and cleanse the house and do like a blessing. I thought, holy crap. I guess I was kind of naive because I didn't realize that people charge for charge. But and I don't think it was like they charged just specifically for that. It was like the flight, the hotel, and then whatever they charged for the investigation and cleansing. But yeah, I would never. I don't care if it's $5 or $4 to get coffee. We don't take anything. We appreciate the gesture and people wanting to take care of us and stuff, and the families we meet, but we're definitely not there for that. Our payment is seeing them happy at the end of the day and their nightmare over with. I think you guys will really like the group that we didn't actually work with them. We did phone conversations, and we've talked to them multiple times working on this family haunting because it's pretty complex, which you guys will see. It involves a very well-known Bigfoot up in northeastern Ohio. Not that I'm a big Bigfoot person, but there's a lot of credible witnesses that have spotted this hairy creature in this area. If you guys believe in Bigfoot, give a thumbs up. And no, we did not go chasing Bigfoot during this investigation. It's just the history of it's tied to this property and this house. Okay, let's see if this gas station's got less of a line. We got a doggy next door. Hi, doggy. What are you doing? I should have brought my doggy and you could see my doggy. Got a lot of thumbs up on the Bigfoot. I'm always skeptical about Bigfoot and stuff like that. But when you have cases like up there that we were just dealing with, where you have multiple witnesses who don't fit, I guess, the stereotype of witnesses for Bigfoot, and then you have law enforcement that also seen whatever these people seen, I think that adds to the credibility. So, but I always look, it's a big planet, and I think every day there's new species of animals that we thought were extinct or we didn't know existed that are being discovered. So I think it was back in the 90s. Somebody will know this. It was like either the late 80s or early 90s. New species of chimpanzees were discovered. I think they're called Bobos or something like that. Somebody will know that information. But it was so you have a whole species of chimpanzees, which are not small animals, that we didn't even know existed, and then they're discovered. I was going to see if somebody knew what. Let me see here. What's this question? Do we get disheartening whenever we go to help somebody? I don't worry about it. I think we do. As far as I can invest, like before, I'm trying to think the best way to put this. I used to allow cases to affect me too much, if that makes sense. Obviously, each case affects us differently, and we put our heart and soul into each case. But we also are smart enough now to realize once we leave, we can't control what people do. They can either heed our advice, heed the advice from the church, whatever the case may be. There's just some people, and you guys have seen it in episodes that we've done in the past, there's just some people that enjoy conversating with the spirits. And it's not that conversating with spirits is inherently a bad thing, but if you are dealing with something very traumatic and evil, then you probably shouldn't communicate with it anymore. Um, and then there's other people that we work with that they've got this whole community on like social media that revolves around their haunting, you know, seeing like home security footage or whatever the case may be. So they kind of cling on to things just because they want that part of their life to continue. So if the haunting stops, all that stuff goes away, if that makes sense. So this myth that you can help everybody and everyone and resolve every case that you go on, it doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that. I'm sure if you asked, you know, some of the bigger names in the paranormal, like Amy Allen and kindred spirits and priests and stuff that work on exorcisms and demonic cases, they'll tell you the same thing. You just can't, and we tell the families, like when we go into every case, one of the first things we tell a family when we go in is, you know, we're going to do the best job we can do as far as documenting evidence, getting you guys answers, and with the cleansing and all that. But with everything in life, there's no guarantees. I mean, there's no magic wand that we have to make the spirit leave. It either happens or it doesn't happen. And that's one of the reasons, like a lot of people don't work on family cases, is because that reason. You don't just deal with the paranormal. You know, if it was just going in and trying to document evidence, family cases would be easy. But you got to understand you're dealing with families that may have, or typically do have, a lot of stuff going on in their lives. So you've got that dynamics. You have just the weight of, you know, wanting to help somebody and get them answers and get them peace in their life. And I don't know, family hauntings, it's just you're a ghost hunter, you're a therapist, I'm sure there's other words I can't think of right now, but there's just all these different dynamics that you have to navigate your way through. So it's not like you're just walking into a haunted building and you set up your equipment and you go investigate. Every little thing that you do, you think about, you know, will this put the family in more danger? So even the questions and stuff you ask, the responses you give, I don't know. I love the family hauntings because just from a storytelling perspective, I think a family haunting, there's just, every case is different, every story is different, every person's different. So there's not that pressure. Like, I'm sure there's some teams out there that do like the haunted locations, like Waverly Hills, Pennhurst, stuff like that. And if you have a show on YouTube, you know, if you walk around Waverly Hills all night, you document no evidence, what kind of episode are you going to have? So there's that pressure. But with like a family haunting, you can go in there. If you tell a good, solid, compelling story and do a good, honest investigation, you don't have to have the evidence to back anything up, if that makes sense. As you guys have seen, we've had some family haunting cases that have been batshit crazy, and then other ones have been kind of boring and not a whole lot of evidence, which you can never dictate when you go into a place. But the thing with the family cases, like I said, is every case is a new story. You know, you can get so involved with the family and what they've been going through, and just their story itself makes the episode. And then you don't need, you know, you don't have the pressure of, oh, I've got to document all this stuff. And yeah, I definitely would say, and family hauntings, I think, are more active than like haunted locations, because you're taking people that are actually living it and experiencing it in real time. Where, like, I've been to Waverly Hills, I think 3 or 4 times. First time was crazy, second time was boring as hell, third time was okay, and the fourth time was really good. So they're always hit and miss. It seems like the family hauntings are always more active. I don't know how to. People that's done like family cases, they understand what I'm talking about. It's just a completely different feeling, and it's a completely different investigation. Or like the haunted locations you're going into, this is probably the best way to put it. When you go into the haunted locations, like the mainstream locations, you're basically just going in to document whatever evidence you can. When you go into a family haunting, you're trying to find answers. Who's there? What's there? Why are they there? Do they have a message? Do they need help? So there's just, I guess, a broader spectrum of questions and reasons, and there's an end goal. There's no end goal when you go into a haunted location. You just pack your shit up and you leave. That was probably a long way of saying something that I probably could have said short. Anybody in here ever done a family haunting? Give a thumbs up. Or worked on a family case? We don't use the Estes method much, but I think Sean and we can do that this weekend if that's something you guys want to see. Crap, I don't have any Tums on me. Damn it. So there's quite a few people that's in here. Yeah, we'll do that. Sean and I will do the Estes method this weekend. I feel like we haven't done it so much. Again, it comes back to the family cases. You're only allotted so much time there. It's not like you're there for 12, 14 hours. Just tell the family you got to leave your house for 12 or 14 hours. But definitely the Estes method would be, we'll try that this weekend. We'll try to go live tomorrow too as well. Lori said the church calls me for family spiritual. Witchy lady, is that right? Been doing cases for 30 years. We're not too far behind you. We've been at it for 20 years. Melissa needs prayers. I must have missed that, Melissa. Sorry to hear what's going on. We'll send you some prayers. Hello, mods. Got our mods up in here. Everybody from Patreon, channel members. Shout out to you guys. People in here from Canada. Oh wow, that's pretty heavy, Cindy. I'm sorry to hear that. We'll definitely give some prayers to Melissa. See here. Amy Briggs says, when you guys bless the houses you go to, have you ever had a force fight against you? Yeah, we have. Typically, like I've told people, is typically like the cleansing is the most benign part of the investigation. 90% of the time, I would say 95% of the time, nothing extraordinary or nothing negative happens during the cleansing. You will hear knocking on the walls. You'll hear footsteps. Sometimes we hear disembodied voices. I think on a few cases, you guys have actually seen shadows when we were doing the cleansings. People have sent us messages about. But we have had cases where, like the Jackie Bell case, that cleansing went super crazy. The case that we did for, I think it was Discovery Channel, might have been Travel Channel. I think it was Discovery Channel, the family haunting we did in Brookville, Ohio. That cleansing was absolutely crazy. And we weren't even the ones doing the cleansing. We were there for the cleansing, but back then we didn't do them. And that went crazy. Yeah, just, you never know. Sometimes we have more crazy stuff happen when the family's there with us during the cleansing than when it's just the three of us. And I think that leads to a possible attachment when stuff like that happens. Like there's a couple cases I thought people were going to stab me with the crucifix during a cleansing. So yeah, we've definitely had some very tense moments during cleansings, but for the most part, they're pretty, nothing really happens. Yeah, we've had, let me run to this gas station real quick. I'll be right back. I think this line's down. Did I scare you? It's funny, whenever I run into the gas station, it drops down like 30, 40 people. They're like, we don't want to watch this idiot go inside of a gas station and just stare at the back of his car. So yeah, definitely be at the premiere tonight, 8 o'clock. Really good, solid case, great family, amazing evidence. For those of you guys that know or don't know, I try to get into the live chat about half hour early to talk to you guys, give some shout outs, answer questions. Because once we get thousands of people in chat, it's so hard to keep up and not respond to people. So if you want to ask some questions or get a shout out or whatever it is, come to chat around 7:30. I'll be in there. Sean will probably be in there closer to 8 o'clock. Rocky probably won't be in there at all tonight because, like I said, he's on vacation. So the bad thing is I grabbed my Kool-Aid, but I forgot my ChapStick and I forgot Tums. So, but the sun's finally starting to come out, so I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 miles in, get some good cardio in. I went, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? Every year I've got to go do a wellness exam for insurance purposes. And the insurance says they do it because they care about you, but I think they do it because if you have something wrong, they just want to raise your rates. But they may care about me. But anyhow, the wellness exam, I haven't had like a tetanus shot in like, oh, I bet 20 years, because I freaking hate needles. So I broke down and, geez, you want to get your tetanus shot this time? I said, that's fine. Well, then they needed to do blood work. So not only did I get a tetanus shot, but then I had to go down and get my blood work done, because I know a lot of you guys have been concerned. I've been concerned too, as the last few cases I've had like heart palpitations, where my heart will like flutter. So I wanted to get all that checked out. Like the only medication I'm on is for cholesterol, and I only take that like 3 times a week. So it wasn't like my cholesterol was like off the charts. It was just, I guess, bad enough to be put on medication, where diet and exercise wasn't bringing it down low enough. This is probably information none of you guys really care about, but so I did get that checked back. My blood work came back. She said that high anxiety, high stressful, nervous situations can cause your heart to flutter. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a heart condition. So I'm thinking that's what caused it, was just the anxiety and the nervousness of an intense investigation. So at least now if that happens, I know I'm not gonna have a heart attack. So anyhow, all that came back good. I survived getting 2 needles. We're getting close to 500,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to see me get a tattoo live, and I'll probably let you guys vote. I'm gonna give you a couple different options on what tattoo I should get. I'll let you guys vote on it, and then I'm gonna get that tattoo live. So I won't tell you exactly what the 2 options are just yet. My family and I, we went somewhere this weekend, I think to eat dinner or something like that, and we were talking about it. They were like thinking my one idea was stupid and I should get this other one, and I said, well, why don't we just let the people decide what I get? So when we hit 500,000 subscribers, which to me, it's just as much of an achievement for you guys as it is us, because I believe that we're all in this together, and you know, without you guys, we couldn't have done this for 20 some years, and hopefully that we've entertained you guys for 20 years, and I've always said that I consider you guys an extended family. So I think something as important as getting a tattoo, which I promised myself I would never get, I should let you guys decide what that should be. So you guys will choose my fate. Choose wisely. It'll be 2 good choices, I promise you. But we got to hit 500,000. We've got to hit 500,000 subscribers first. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. Make sure you are at the premiere tonight, 8 o'clock. You can also check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Probably missing some other stuff that we're on. I only focus on like YouTube. I don't really care about Facebook and all that stuff. I let Rocky and Sean handle all that. It's hard enough running YouTube, let alone trying to run everything. But yeah, we're getting very close to hitting 500,000 subscribers. I suspect, looking at our analytics and our numbers, that we will be there within a couple weeks. So please share as much as you can. Like I said, if you're new here, subscribe. And then you guys will have the option of deciding my fate, and then you'll get to watch it live. So, kind of nervous about getting the tattoo. I can't lie. I've heard it's not as bad as getting a needle, but I look at it as hundreds of needles, however many needles are in those things. I can't lie, I definitely would be nervous. But yeah, I'm gonna go, like I said, get some cardio in. I think it's done raining, the sun's starting to come out, so appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys all for your amazing support. The families also appreciate you guys as well. My brothers and I do greatly appreciate you. Please be there at 8 o'clock. Brand new episode. You guys will love it. Tell all your friends, share the link, whatever you got to do. Let's hit the 500,000 mark and get a tattoo. I hear an alarm somewhere. I won't tell you exactly where I'm getting the tattoo at either, so I'll make that a surprise. And like I said, I think we're going to hit the 500,000 goal. I would say probably, what is today's date? Is today like the 12th? Anybody know what today's date is? Yeah. I'm hoping by the end of the month we can hit the 500,000. I feel like going from 400K to 500K has been like the most long drawn out process. And then you know what happens is once you get, say if you get to 499,000 subscribers, it'll literally feel like a month before you hit 500. And it's not even like 500,000 is like a big deal. It's just one of those things, I guess, because you put in so much hard work and you want people to watch and enjoy your content. Because obviously helping the families is our main goal, but taking care of you guys and making sure that you guys enjoy what you watch is another thing that we love. And that's more of just the filming and editing and that whole process, which really has nothing to do with the investigations and stuff. But I would say it'd be a small goal, is to, you know, we had our first channel, which we didn't even really care about, like subscribers and stuff like that. We were making like zero money off of our original channel. I don't think we made our first, we didn't make one dime off of YouTube for the first 17 years we were on YouTube. We lost access to our original channel, so we went 2 or 3 years uploading to that channel, but I don't think we knew, like we didn't realize size and all that stuff, so it wasn't, you know, we were all, you know, YouTube wasn't a way for us to make money or anything like that. We didn't look at YouTube as like a career or anything. So it wasn't until like 2017 we made, I remember, I'll never forget, we got our very first check from YouTube in 2017, or no, 2018 is when we got our very check. So we'd been doing this from 2000, when did YouTube start? 2005? So like 2005 to 2018, so 13 years, we'd been doing this and never made it, like I said, never made a dime. And then it was 2018, because it was like maybe 6-7 months before COVID hit, we got our very first check from YouTube. And I remember it was like $220. Now, to a lot of people, $220 is a lot of money. But to us, you know, because we've been working all these years, you know, still working hard enough that where we could pay our bills, take care of our families, all of our responsibilities, but still have money at the end of the week where we could go out and work with families and had money for gas and food. We'd sleep in rest areas. We literally ate Taco Bell for 6 years on the road because of the value menu. So when we got our first check from YouTube, like I said, it was like $220. It was like the very first time that we didn't have to scrape, and we're all throwing money in to pay for gas and stuff like that. It was like we could go out and we could travel to this case, and our gas is covered, our food is covered. And so it was, even though it wasn't like, I guess, a huge deal to us, it was because it was the first time we didn't have to stress about gas and all that stuff, which is something like we argued about nonstop all the time, because it was like, well, Sean paid for the gas last weekend. Well, it's Rocky's turn to pay for gas, or it's my turn to pay for gas. So, but we've always been in the mindset, if you work hard and you're passionate about something and you do it for the right reasons, and everything will eventually work out. Doesn't always work out in our time, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely emotional thinking back to, as you look back at the times that we struggled with all that, and I guess to where we are now. It's just proof that no matter what your goal is in life, if you are passionate about it and you love it, and you pour your heart and your sweat, your tears into it, eventually things will pay off. Doesn't always happen when you want it to pay off. Doesn't always happen fast. Sometimes it takes 13, 14 years, but just always keep at it. And especially for you people, you younger groups on YouTube and stuff like that, just starting out, you may get, I remember back when we first started, getting 30 views. Everybody starts out somewhere. So, we've seen teams come on YouTube and just fly past us. They hit 1 million subscribers in no time. You can't let that stuff deter you. You just have to stay focused. And as long as you've got to be slightly entertaining too, for people to watch you, but just put in the time. And there are, like I said, there were groups that came on the YouTube and that just absolutely flew past us, within a year flew past us, and have millions of subscribers. But you can't base your happiness and your success on the amount of subscribers. That's the one thing that we've learned. So anyhow, you guys all have a good day. I'm going to go work out, and then I'm going to go home and edit, and I'll see you guys in the live chat 8 o'clock tonight. Well, I'll be there at 7:30. So thank you guys all, and we will see you tonight 8 o'clock.